Hey everyone, Chris from Maple Street Guitars here, and we're trying something a little bit different. We had an idea for a series to kind of give you a glimpse into the store and the personalities behind it. So this is the first episode of My Favorite Things. We figured we'd start with our fearless leader, the one and only Lindsay Petsch. How are you today?
I am well.
Awesome. Well, the idea behind this show was to, talk to some of the folks that work around here, like yourself, like the teachers and customers maybe, we'll see, and pick some of your favorite instruments and kind of hear the story behind it, figure out what you love about it, and, kind of just humanize the instruments a little bit more.
Certainly.
So, we have an Epiphone here.
Yes, this is perhaps a somewhat obscure Epiphone. It's an FT570BL for blonde, and it's essentially a Japanese-made Epiphone guitar that was kind of built in the style of a J200, so it's a super jumbo body.
Okay.
And this particular one has kind of a story to it.
Yes, please get into that.
Yeah, as one might imagine, we see lots of cool guitars come through the store, and then sometimes we see some that, well, they're not so cool, or maybe they got some serious problems. And so this guitar falls into the latter category in that it had a lot of problems when it came in. And it was originally something that a customer had wanted to trade along with another guitar, and it had so much going on that we really couldn't accept it. And so he ended up just abandoning here because it was cost prohibitive to fix.
Right.
And yet I was able to hear with it capoed, because it would not play with the strings open. I was able to, I put a capo on it, and I could hear that there was this tone in the guitar, that kind of sounded like a treasure that needed to be unearthed,
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to take it on as a project and teach myself a little bit about what our excellent repair staff does, and learn a little bit more about re-gluing the loose braces and re-fretting the guitar. And I mean, it had all kinds of problems. Back separation, it needed a new bridge, the headstock was split along the tuning machines, and it was rough. So I was able to get it back up and running, much to, I should say with Jeff's help and repairs, and I built a new bridge for it and thought it very appropriate to engrave it and name this guitar Lazarus.
Very appropriate.
Yes.
Second life. When did you get this one?
Jeez, maybe 10 years ago, give or take. So 2008 or 9, something like that.
Okay, so it was well loved when it got here, but since then I imagine quite a bit more love has been put into it.
Yeah, for anyone who's read some of the articles or listened in on my conversations around the store, I advocate having guitars like this. This is, for lack of a better term, my beater, or what I call a decoy. So this guitar lives in the living room. It's always quick at hand, and so subsequently it gets played a whole lot. I've taken on camping trips and to festivals and things like this. So despite the fact that it's probably kind of, let's just say, a less expensive guitar in my collection, it's something I really rely upon a lot, and I very much enjoy playing it. So it's a great tool, and I think it's a testament to the fact that, first of all, a guitar is a pretty resilient thing, and it can live on through some pretty terrible stresses. I mean, we've seen them come back from just about everything around here. But it's also an example of the fact that you don't have to spend a lot of money on a guitar that can really have a pleasing sound and really fit in your day-to-day life. And so Lazarus here and our good buddies, and some good songs have come out of him.
How would you kind of describe the sound of this one?
Well, it's got, by virtue of its big body, and it does have a solid top, a pretty robust presence, good amount of low end, But as a Japanese-made guitar and perhaps a little bit heavier built guitar, given the era of its construction, it dates from the 70s, it does have a brightness and kind of a cut on the treble. So in many respects, I actually find it clearer and better balanced than some of the Gibsons that it emulates, but maybe not with so much of the satisfying thump in the low end.
Right.
You know, but a very good guitar, excellent guitar plugged in as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed the Fishman pickup in there.
Yeah, so again, something that I salvaged from the back. You know, it's like it just was in a pile of junk, and I kind of pieced it together, and it works. I don't rely on it so much for that purpose, but it's there if I need it.
And I imagine quite a bit of original material has been written on this one.
A couple songs, yeah, definitely. I even wrote one called "Lazarus Likes to Dance." You know, because I guess if he rose again from the dead, that'd be a quick emphasis.
Yeah, for sure. You might want to celebrate that.
Yeah. But some other things have definitely come together on this song. There's a tune I wrote that's on my band's first album called "Leaving Paris," which was recorded with a 12-string, so not this guitar, but I wrote it on this guitar.
Okay, cool.
Sitting on my front porch at like 1 a.m. after a band practice. So, you know, guitars that have story and personality, I think, are quite evocative. And I'm sure there are other tunes that have been inspired by this guitar, or came to me while playing this guitar.
Yeah, for sure. Well, any other things you want to add about it that might, stick out? Any other stories, any other details about it that are things that really appeal to you?
Well, no, I think I covered it pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all in all a unique instrument, and I'm really privileged to have it. One of the cool things about the setup I will mention, as I tend to use wider fingerboards than this guitar has, this is an example of the fact that you don't necessarily have to stay or conform, I should say, to industry norms. So this guitar has a biased nut. If you look closely,
know what that even means.
Yeah, if you look closely, the string spacing of the bottom 2 strings is actually closer, and the other strings are therefore more spread apart. So it essentially gives me the string spacing of a 1 3/4 inch nut for most of the playable surface, but the 2 strings where I might need that a little less actually are closer together. So, with guitars of this nature, sometimes you have to get a little inventive about your solutions to inherent shortcomings they might have, and that's my creative solution here. And it's something we actually do on some guitars here in the store per customer request.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Well, Lindsay, thank you so much for talking to us a little bit about Lazarus.
Thank you, Chris.
Now, why don't we get you playing around a little bit with it?
Okay, cool.
Hey.
Hey, and that's Lazarus.